Thank you. And I want to thank all the speakers who came this morning. I think that was an important perspective. I'm really a little confused. I've heard several directors say they don't want to have armed police officers. Well, there's as many as 4, maybe 5 armed police officers in this room. Why do we get 5 armed guards and a train of 1,000 people can't even get 1? There's something wrong with that. And if we're going to speak with one voice, we ought to ask the general manager to not have armed police officers in this room and just have unarmed police officers. Because if our riders are going to be subject to unsafe conditions, we should experience those same conditions. Maybe that will make us think more profoundly about the need to balance our interactions with our riders. You know, if Director Murray was still here, she would ask about Jane the rider. She would want to know what's being Jane what?
Betty.
All right, Betty the rider, whatever her name is. She would ask about Betty the rider, and she would say, with a lot of passion, how is what we're talking about going to impact? I guess it's Betty the rider, and I think we've only heard half the story here today. I support privacy. I support the need to ensure that we're acting responsibly when we interact with the public. But unless I'm mistaken, there is no expectation of privacy in public conveyance. Is that correct or incorrect?
That concept is largely true.
So you're asking to have privacy in an environment which is not protected by privacy. So I'm not saying we abandon all of our privacy efforts. I'm just saying we make sure that they're not in conflict with what we're going forward. One of the things that's annoying to me, it's been pointed out that I was on that committee. Here we are 2 years later, and we're not able to use technology because we haven't been able to finalize that policy. Let's bring the damn policy to the board and have a vote on it. And if there are things that separate us from the community, let 5 people on this board decide which of those things are going to be implemented. We can't keep having this delay. We have to bring this to some final action. So I think one of our writers said, or one of our speakers said, this is a watershed moment. It is a watershed moment. We have heard half the story here today, and only half the story. The people who contact me want a different approach than what apparently the majority of the board and what people have been saying all morning. They want to feel safer. They are scared on our trains. They are scared to use BART in the evening and on the weekends. They fear for their safety. I've been here a long time, and I've never heard so many riders express fear for their safety on this system. If we are going to convene the mayors, that's 2 years from now when we get something done. If we're going to talk about other things with community leaders, that's weeks. That's going to take months, if not years. What are we going to do tomorrow to ensure the safety of our riders? We are failing them. While I don't agree with everything that's been proposed, I think we ought to support going forward with measures that can protect our riders and continue to work with the privacy people. And I was actually going to make a substitute motion. I don't know if I can make a substitute motion of a substitute motion. So I was going to actually make a substitute motion. We have said that matters of high profile, that have high profile interests, should have evening meetings, and I agree with that. I would move that we continue 6 through 12 or whatever the right number is, and that at the president and the general manager schedule an evening meeting either in central Contra Costa County, in Dublin, Pleasanton, or out in Richmond, so we get the full story before we make a decision. If we act on anything today, we're only acting with half of the information. We haven't heard from the frightened riders who are reluctant to use our system. And I think we should hear from them before and make a balanced decision about what we're going to do. I'd also be interested from the GM, if you don't have the numbers right now, what's being proposed today has been called a PR or an image move. Has ridership suffered in the last week or two because of what's happened?
I don't have any information either way, boss.
Okay, I expected that you might not, but it